All right, so this week we're going to talk about Jacob flock increase. So this is a powerful lesson right here that you can use in your everyday life, and is one of my favorite. So it's been itching. It's dark, but I'm gonna try to get this out. Today is my birthday, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, that is my birthday. Subscribe to my channel and send this video to somebody that you feel like could use, an uplift and positive message for this week. So subscribe. I thank you for watching. But listen carefully. It is kind of tricky, but it's a deep meaning behind it. So Jacob's flock. So Jacob was a smart, witty young man, and he worked for a guy named Laban. Laban owned sheep. He owned thousands of sheep, right? So Jacob worked for him for 14 years, but Jacob never had nothing for himself. Typically, like most people, you can work for somebody for 20 years, 15 years, and still never really store up nothing for your children. So Jacob started to realize he has nothing for his family, and he said after 14 years, he walked up to his boss and said, hey, I'm deciding I'm finna go home and work on my own land so that I can build something for my family to have when I'm gone. And his boss, Laban, said, Jacob, I have had favor in my flock and my cattle since you've been working for me for these last 14 years. And you tell me, what do you want to get paid? And that is your wages. And Jacob responded different than anybody else, right? Because I would have said, just give me, double my raise. That's what the average person would ever say. But Jacob said something different. He said, listen, let me have every spotted, speckled sheep that your cattle have. That's it. The solid color ones you keep. The speckled, spotted ones I keep. And Laban thought about it, and he said, deal, because the chance of a bunch of spotted and speckled sheep coming out is so low that it makes sense. That's a fair trade. So Laban went and separated the spotted ones from the solid ones, and he left. And Laban tended to his flock. Laban was taking care of all the flock. So this is where it get tricky. Laban, he was doing Jacob, I would say, not paying him fairly. He always switched up his wages as he worked for him. So as soon as Jacob get ahead, he'll switch it up. And that was just part of his way he dealt with his employees, I guess. So this is what Jacob ended up doing. When Jacob tended to his flock, he went back and he went and got a branch. He got I'm gonna tell you exactly what it was, from a poplar almond plane tree. And he made white stripes on them. And he peeled the bark, exposing the white inside the bark. So when he peeled these tree barks back, right, exposing the white, then he took the bark, but he waited. So these sheep's out here in this field, right? And once the sheep got ready to mate, they got in heat, they would go and drink water from this pond, this water, right? And when they in heat, he would throw the bark in the water. And when he put the striped bark in the water and the females are in heat drinking the water, the males would come behind them, and that's when they would mate and end up getting pregnant and then having babies. So let's say this first round, they had babies. He probably had, let's say, 30 solid ones and 5 or 3 speckled, spotted ones. So what Jacob did, he had his first flock. He took all the solid ones, he put over here. He kept his little small group of spotted sheep over here. So then, now the spotted ones are mating together, so it's more likely they're going to have spotted sheep because spotted having mating with spotted. But that wasn't it, because that's part of it, right? So he said he separated also the strong ones. So any strong baby calf that came out, he would let that strong one drink from the water, because the whole goal was he wanted a strong cattle. So Jacob ended up putting all the strong cattle and letting them drink from the water with the bark in them. So over time, the strong ones came out with the spotted speckles on them. And then all the ones that were weak came out solid because they were over here in the other field. So Jacob flock increased way more than his boss flock, and he began to have so many speckled sheep, which is unnormal. So I would say having a speckled sheep is like maybe a person having twins, or maybe having a albino child. It was not a very common thing, right? But if you go back to the beginning, because many people think that the sheep just came out speckled because, God waves his hand over it. No, that when he put that tree bark in the water and they drank from that water, that was part of the DNA. That was part of the reason them sheep were coming out like that. See, it took me a while to understand, but when you work for something for 14 years, you ain't no dummy. You know a lot more than the boss think you know. And that's what happened in this case. Jacob, when he said that deal from the beginning, I have every spotted and speckled sheep, he knew exactly how he was going to make spotted and speckled sheep. And that just amazed me, because so many people, we work jobs and stuff, but we don't pay attention to God could be giving you the spotted sheep at your job right now, and you not even recognize it. So let me tell you my spotted sheep. I was a mailman, and I would drive the mailman truck, and somebody would be getting evicted out their house, all their stuff on the curb. Or somebody have a U-Haul truck backed up to the house, they're moving. Or somebody die in the house and it's empty. And that was my Jacob moment. When any of them three things happen, I would always, I'll be riding by that house, and I'll see a person that don't look like they stayed in that house, cleaning up that house, and I go and ask, hey, what are you finna do with that house? And they'll say, oh, such and such happened, we thinking about putting it for sale. And that's my door opening. Boom, I go right in there. Hey, I would love to buy this house. And that was my Jacob moment. And that was how I was able to acquire properties. I was on the street. The postmaster, the president of the United States Postal Service, they couldn't do this because they're in the office. I'm out here with the sheep. I'm on the ground. I'm in the fence. So you got to put yourself, what is your advantage at your job? If you out here and you talk to the customers every day, you know more than sometimes what your boss or supervisor know, because a lot of times they're looking at data, they're looking at analytics, they just talking over the phone. They're not actually smelling, feeling, touching. They're not in it. So Jacob was in it. Jacob knew exactly what he was doing. He worked with him for 14 years. And that's how Jacob increased his flock, and he was able to surpass Laban as his boss flock. So as you continue to read, God had also given him a dream, and that's later in the passage. God gave Jacob a dream that in season he's gonna have a lot of speckled and spotted sheep. And the dream, you got to still be able to know how to see what God's trying to tell you with that dream, because God ain't just wave a magic wand and make all them sheep come out spotted. He knew if he can just tell you they're gonna have a lot of spotted sheep, and you put it two and two together, hey, I know how to make spotted sheep. And that was God giving you your way in his world. He got to give you the most strangest information to make your ideas be successful. So read that for yourself. Is chapter 30 Genesis and all the way to chapter 31, and it teaches you, and you read it for yourself and comment, why do you think the sheep came out spotted? What is your reason? But I studied that, I don't know how many times I read it over and over, because I just couldn't figure out how were the sheep coming out spotted and speckled. But after reading over and over and keep reading, I realized that every time he put the sticks in the water, they came out spotted. So that was part of the reason. So yes, check that out, and make sure you send that video to somebody, this video to somebody, and encourage somebody to pay attention. When you driving down the road, you see buildings going up, you see houses going up, pay attention. Gentrification, pay attention, because that could be your Jacob moment, your own flock. All right? Peace.